Hi friends, Miss Art Garden here, and today I'm going to go through how to draw the same face from different angles. And I've probably done a similar tutorial, I can't actually remember, but in this tutorial I'm going to talk about what to check for if it's not working right. I'm going to go through kind of what makes a face look different. So even if you tried to draw it the same and it just looks totally different, we're going to go through the most common things on why that is. So to start with, let's draw the same face from 3 different angles. So let's get 3 circles here. And these faces would be way too crowded, so I'll make these a little smaller. Okay, so for this first one, we'll have it at this angle, meaning the profile, that'll be the front of the face. This one we'll do just a straight face, and on this one we'll do the 3/4. So we'll get these guidelines all set up here for us. Okay, so very first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the faces are all going to be the same lengths. And I usually am pretty loose with how I draw these, so I'm going to go based off the middle face's length. So we're going to draw that one first. Okay, so starting kind of at the temple area where the eye sockets are, I'm going to come down a little bit to about a little bit under this line here. And then I'm going to curve in. If you're drawing a girl, you'll curve in real smooth and her face will probably be a little bit shorter. If you're drawing a guy, you'll have a little bit more length here for the jawline, and it might come down and be a little bit of a longer face. And then you can draw the other side. What I tend to do, just like a weird little thing I do, is I pick which one I like better. So I've got these more or less the same, but you can see this one's a little higher than this one. So that's why the faces don't quite line up. But the length apart is good enough and stuff. But if you're looking for the discrepancy there, that's what it is. You got to be careful of those jaw lines. So since I kind of like this side better than the other, I'm going to delete this side. Command C, Command Shift V, and then I'll flip it. And there we go. We got a perfectly symmetrical face. That's just a little cheaty thing. If you want, you could have just, taken the extra 10 seconds to fix your lines. But I just like to do that. It's my tutorial. I can do that if I want. Okay, so there's the base of the face. Let's draw in the eyes. Since it's a guy, I'm not going to draw eyelashes. You could if you want. And I'm just going for more traditional male structure. So tops of the eyes, men will typically have a bigger nose. So right under this area, I'm just going to draw in some nostrils for the nose. And I didn't quite get those symmetrical. Yeah, let's erase some of this. We don't need this anymore once we get that. I'm going to have the top of the nose there, and we'll have a little bit of a line. Maybe I'll draw like this. I kind of like that front view style for a guy. It shows like a prominent sort of ridge. And then I might draw a little bit of a peak here. I don't think this is quite long enough, this jawline, so you might want to go down if you were redrawing this, bring it down a little bit. But since I'm going to be a little cheater on the computer, I'm gonna knock this down, stretch it down a little bit like this. Okay, so there's the nose, and then the lips will be here, and he'll be a grumpy face. So we'll give him thinner lips because he's a guy, but these also might need to go out just a touch. And one thing I'm going to do, again, since I'm on the computer, is just bring this nose up just a touch too. So we have our nose feature, our mouth, and our eyes. Let's just go ahead and detail out the eyes. This eye is a little closer than this eye, so we might want to mess with this. Just make it a little more symmetrical. And then we'll draw the base of the eyes, draw the eyes themselves in, give him some bushy eyebrows. Draw that little crease above the eyes first. Bushy eyebrows, pop in some ears. They're typically, they start at the top of the eyes and then go down to about the base of the nose. Just gonna draw them a little bit at an angle here. There we go. Okay, then we can give him some kind of hairline. Maybe he's got like a peak there, peak here and here, and that little center part, and then we'll draw it in just like that. And over here we'll do the same, just like that. Bring this in and then over, bring this in and then over. Okay, so now he's got some hair too, and then some sideburns. Okay, so we have our guy. That is going to be face number 1, and from that we're going to want to match all these features that we've drawn on the other one. So the things to consider: the length of his face. I'd say one of the most important, because it really changes the face. Like if you shrink it or elongate it, even if your features are exactly the same. Here I can just show you. So if we select this, if you shrink the face, he automatically becomes a lot younger looking. And if you elongate the face, he automatically becomes a lot older looking. So that's why I think it's important to make sure you keep the length of the face, as weird as that is, as like one of the biggest things to think about, because that will be very important for the age part. So let's go over here and draw the side view next. Considering his eyes are about here, that's where we'll focus here. This chin line will come down here too, because we want to match these up as well well. So I might make a little adjustment here to my guide. His jawline is going to be right there. Since we have them side by side, we might as well take note. Okay, so his eyes come in here, and when your eyes come in from the profile view, they dip in like that. The bridge of the nose will come out. This nose ends like down here-ish. So bring it all the way out. From this front view, it looks like he's got a pretty small nose. So I'm not going to bring this out or anything like that. Pretty straight and to the point. So that looks the same from both angles. Smaller nose, smaller nose. Okay, and then his lips are also thin because he's a guy. So we'll give him a thin upper lip. The bottom lip starts a little bit in from where the top lip does. So we'll bring that down. Also fairly small. And then we had his chin pretty much lined up for us already. And then we'll just match the style of the eyes. About the same size. Hard to tell, but from the side angle here like this. And we'll give him those bushy eyebrows. Okay, so here he is from the side. And make sure his jawline matches up. His ear would be about, let's bring this jaw out at this angle a little more. His ear would start about here, end up about here, and that lines up with the top of the eyes and the bottom of the nose pretty good. Okay, and then the other thing we'll give him is that hairstyle. And I do think, once again, his hairstyle is going to help, especially if you give your characters different hair. It's a big help because you can sort of mess up a face, but then if you see the hairstyle, it helps people kind of recognize it. So we'll get him this kind of hair that goes in a little bit down like that at that angle, and then the sideburns like that. And then on this side, we'll get that same hair there. I think this needs to just come out just a little bit. Like if this was the cranium here, then the hair would sit here. Maybe the hair would come down a little bit so it's not just so far. Okay, so there we go. So now let's do a check and see if we've got this good yet. We have the jawline looks about the same where it bends in. The chin, without it even having to match up, it should be about that size from the bottom. That matches there. The nose is a little bit petite. It's a little bit in from the corner of the eye, and that looks like it might match up that way. The ears are the same length, more or less, and we have the same hairstyle, which should help out there. So I think this side and this side are good. Again, things to check. If this face was longer, he'd look a little bit older. If this face was shorter, he'd look a little bit younger. So it's, again, I think that face shape is really important, even if you have like half of the face different. So if you make this longer, it really changes the kind of face shape. This guy looks like he has a lot of a broader chin, I guess. Or if you made this part shorter, again, it would make him look kind of young with a strangely large chin. These are just the little details you want to keep focused on. Okay, and then we come over to doing the 3/4 profile. Let's draw in the base of the face shape before we bring it in anymore. So to match up with this jawline, we're going to have it go all the way down to about here. That'll be the goal for this chin pointed line. Theoretically this one too, but you'll kind of, it'll be such a gradual thing you'll hardly see it. So what you'll do is you'll have it come in here for the eyes, go out a little bit, give them a cheekbone, come in, and then here is where it will turn in just a little bit. You won't really notice it much, but we'll know it's there. And then this side is where it matches up, so he'll come down like that. Okay, and then I might adjust this just a touch so it looks a little bit more of a natural shape. Just like bring that in a little bit because he has a pretty skinny face. It's not a very wide jaw. Okay, so that looks good for the matching that up. Let's just match up the features. We'll keep the eyes kind of in that same similar style where they're sort of small, no lashes, nothing. They meet up there. Want to make sure that the eyeballs themselves are the same size. Let's have him looking over here, and this is about the same there. And then we'll have the bridge of the nose come out. Again, then his nose is a bit small. It'll meet up a little bit under the eyes. If you picture this here, this is a little too low, so we'll move it up. And he still has that smaller nose for a guy, and then we'll give him a little, I put that little line in on top. It's just my style. You can draw your nose however you want, just as long as you make them about the same size here. And actually I think this one is over just a little too far, so I'm going to do a little computer cheat. Move it that way. Okay, and then the mouth will be right under here, so we'll have that be the mouth line, frowny, and that's the top lip, the bottom lip. Now that we have the features in, we can readjust the face shape. So this actually indented at the wrong place, so we want to indent here, come out here, bring this down, and I'll erase this line so we can see a little better how it's going. I don't want this too rounded because guys tend to have like a lot straighter, like girls might have a little bit more rounded out to show a little fleshier face, I guess. Depending. Guys might have a little bit more leaner faces. You can have a little bulbous line there if you want for the lip. It doesn't really matter. This comes in here. He's got a pretty pointed chin, so they don't want this to be too far out. So we'll bring this in a little little bit. Make sure that still matches that kind of same shape of the pointed chin. And then I just want to move this eye. And these eyes should be about an eye length apart. That one's just a wee bit crowded, so I'm moving that out. And then we can draw in the ear, top of the eyes, bottom of the nose about, and draw it in whatever style you want. Let's finish up by giving him the creases above his eyes and those big bushy eyebrows that are his style. And his hair. Make sure his hairline, I think this hairline doesn't quite match. So we'll go back and fix that. So we'll go about this length, this length, this length. You can see how this one's a little bit short on here. So we can move this up a little bit here while we're looking at it. It's good to notice those things. And then you just put the hair in. And this is just a messy sketch of the hair. There we go. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, so there we go. We have 3 faces. Hey, future Miss Art Garden here doing the edit, and for some reason the audio got garbled here. I just wanted to set up the next thing we're going to do is what happens if you draw a face and it doesn't match up to the other faces, and just how to approach maybe going through and finding out what's wrong about it. So don't mind me. Now we are returning to your normal video. If you've drawn one and it doesn't look the same, like what you can do to approach it. So let's shrink this up so we can fit 4 faces in here. So let's draw a face from like a 3/4 view. So let me just quickly put in the guides here. We'll mess this one up on purpose. So we're gonna make it a little shorter to begin with, and we're gonna make his jaw a lot wider. Looks a little bit strange. Let's shrink it in a little bit. Let's just match the size a little bit better because right now it's not quite right. Okay, but you can already see from the guides and just like your general face shapes that this is going to be longer than this one, and we'll also draw his eyes a little too big on purpose. Okay, so let's start with too big of eyes, and this is a bit of a cheat because when we go to fix it we'll know what we need to fix, but hopefully it'll go through kind of what you need to look out for. And then on this side we'll draw in the nose first. That'll help, and we'll draw this nose much bigger than his other nose. We're just gonna draw a real wonky face, and then we'll go through what you need to do to fix it. Okay, and we'll give him a mouth like that, give him some ears like this, and we'll give him too thin of eyebrows, and we'll give him a much shorter hairline. Okay, and then we'll just sketch his hair in. Okay, so now we have this character over here. I'm just gonna fix this eye so it doesn't look so messed up. And in theory, you might be able to pass it off as the same guy, but we can see it and it doesn't look right. And I kind of gave away a little bit as I was drawing it what's wrong with it. But if we wanted to do a check, we've drawn this and now we need to figure out what's wrong with it. Let's just go through the stages. So the very first thing is the head length is way too short. So it's this length compared to about this length, and you can see through the lines it's quite a significant difference. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lengthen the head up a bit. I'm going to bring it up a little bit here, and I'm actually going to lengthen the bottom part of the face since I don't want the hair to become too long. So I'm going to stretch it out until this chin meets down here. Okay, so now it's gone from him looking maybe a little too young to a little bit older. I'm going to fix his hair since we did stretch that out a little bit. There we go. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is if things line up. So the nose mostly lines up, the mouth mostly lines up, the chin mostly lines up. So that's not too bad, except I would argue that these lips, you see the top lip here looks very big compared to these thin lips that we've been doing up until now. So I would say it'd be for the best if we just redrew this. So the top lip is smaller and the bottom lip is a little bit thicker, and then we can have it come down and meet there. Okay, now let's check the nose sizes. That's small, that's small, that's small. This one is bigger. It's rounder down at the bottom and it's just overall bigger. So that's me circling that nose, and this is me circling this nose. You can see the difference in size. So what we're gonna do is we're going to erase this and then just redraw it. So I'm gonna just draw it so it's a little bit smaller. I'm gonna have it go down at a little more of a straight line than it was, and then come down a little bit more of a pointed angle, and then we're going to draw in that nostril. Okay, so might need to move the mouth up a little bit, but I'm just gonna cheat it. Okay, so there we go. We have the nose. I tweaked that mouth a little bit too. That's a little more more faithful now to this nose. Let's check the other features. We know that the eyebrows are wrong. Let's add those in real quick. That'll be an easy fix. And then lastly, let's circle this eye, let's circle this eye, circle this eye, and then we circle this eye. And we can see the difference in size again. So we want to get those features just matching up a little bit more faithfully. So those are like the main features that I've gone through. I mean, I know that it seems obvious now, but it's just something I thought if you go through them one at a time, it becomes a little more obvious on what is going on. So I'm just going to draw a little eyelash in for this eye because it's so far over, and bring that in like that. And I'm going to fix this because we also want to consider that this is the same size, so I want to get that size in like that. Okay, so we've got him looking a little bit better. I guess I should have kept the original sketch. I'll superimpose it here, but you can see changing those little things make all the difference. And now this face could conceivably be the same character, whereas before that other face just did not look quite right. So that's what I would consider the things to think about when you're going through how to get a face to look the same from different angles. I would say the most important thing would be the length of the face. I would say the same hairstyle, and then just look at the features and see how they would match up. It's a little bit hard, I know, when you're starting out and you don't quite have it locked in how your proportions are in compared to each other, but just try to like imagine if you were circling them, if they were the same size or whatever and you're circling them, would they be one be bigger than the other? You want to match that precision of the faces. So hopefully I didn't ramble too much and I was able to convey what I think is important on drawing faces all the same. And yeah, have a wonderful day. Take care, my friend, and I will see you in the next video.